Okay, we're here. So that's our big success. I'm so excited to be here with you, Brenda. And I just want to say very clearly, my daughter, who's home because grad school has gone online and she's a viola performance major, you can hear her practicing in the background, but she has a recital in a week or two. So that anyone who hears additional noise, that is Josephine practicing the viola. And
I don't even hear it though.
Oh, okay. It's a little unpredictable which sounds the computer enhances and which it doesn't. So I just wanted to name that for, I know you're really very precise and some people are that way about the auditory elements. Okay, so I'm thrilled that you're here. You and I, we've known each other a super long time in a lot of different communities, School of Womanly Arts, just all kinds of different things. And actually starting online, we really developed a friendship. And you yourself, I was going to say you're a relationship coach, but that's not what do you call yourself?
I call myself a transformational coach. It's and it's all relationships, right?
Yes. Well, from my lens, like it's all relationships, whether it's spiritual coach, a health coach, a mindset coach. But anyway, okay. So you're a transformational coach. You do such amazing work with women mostly and couples too, right? And so in August, I'm really so grateful and so excited to speak with you. In fact, is there anything else you want to say about yourself before I dive in further?
No, I think everything will naturally unfold perfectly. I want to say I'm really excited to be here with you.
Okay, well, I'm totally thrilled and I am paying attention. I'm just looking to find us here in the Facebook group so that if people comment, I can see it. So I'm going to come out and go back in. Okay, I keep seeing the other ones. I don't.
You're getting so tech savvy. I love it.
Well, I have a long way to go before I qualify as tech savvy. I was joking with Antiza earlier that my skills as a coach far exceed my capacity to actually do the tech that is necessary. And I don't see us on my phone, but I saw us on I just want to double check because.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. We're here. Okay, Kim Holden just liked it. So I'm thrilled about that because then maybe I can find the video okay, yes, that was my way of finding it. Okay, thank you for the very important help, Kim. By you liking this, it helped me find the video. So I want to invite anyone who watches either now or on the replay, if you have any questions, to please ask them. Kim says, I see you both. Thank you. I feel that, Kim. That's beautiful. So, as I said, we've known each other a long time. I've seen so much growth in you, both personally and professionally, through our online friendship. And you also know me. And actually, I just want to presence really quickly that I am a physician turned relationship and intimacy expert. And I specialize in showing couples how to build beautiful, stable, long-lasting, passionate relationships. And really my signature program that I am just so pumped about, like I wish I could sprinkle it with oxygen so everyone could have access, is the Aligned and Hot Marriage Program. And for anyone who's thinking about that, there's the VIP version where I do private coaching and it's a really customized experience. And then there's the regular version, which includes a journey of accessing the curriculum in the modules and being able to learn and then implement on your own the tools that I teach so that you totally transform your relationship. And it also includes a Facebook group with a live Q&A call. And one of the reasons that I'm so glad to have you here, there's so many topics we could talk about, But in August, you did a program with me where it was online modules and participation in the Facebook group and a regular Facebook Live Q&A. And so I would love for you to speak to that experience and what you were looking for when you enrolled, what you got out of it, mostly to answer people's questions about how much transformation is truly available in the regular version of the Aligned and Not Marriage program.
I love it. First of all, I love that you're doing this program. I can't think of anybody else on the planet except maybe the Obamas, right? They're busy doing other things.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, you're so perfect for this. I'm so excited that you're doing this. And at some point in the future, I'm going to do it. I'm not even married, but it doesn't matter. I was in that 10-day program, which is so funny because I'm not married and I wasn't really in a relationship when I took the program. I was dating somebody who also took the program with me, and it was so wonderful. I just want to do anything that you're doing. So let's just leave it at that. Like, that's number one.
Okay, why? Like, I'm all for it. If it was you and me talking, I would take that in deeply, and I do, because you're a woman of discretion. You're a coach yourself. I feel that. And because this conversation is for you and me and everyone listening, yeah. Why do you say that?
I love that. Well, for myself, first of all, I love everything that you stand for as a woman and as a mother and as a wife. Like, you really embody being a fully empowered, turned on, joyful woman who does her inner work and has, is a mother, and professionally you keep growing and transforming. And that's really inspiring to me. One thing I love about you is your deep approval for where people are on their journey. Like, whatever somebody brings to you, and I've known you for a long time, you have approval for it. And that, I think that's a great quality as a coach, and you really embody that. And not only all of that, but you embody long-term relationship. And that's something that I want. I've had that in the past. I am divorced. And then I had another long relationship. And at this point now in my life, I'm 52. What I'm working on now, after doing so much inner work, is deep commitment, deeper than before. Because I had an over 20-year marriage, so I was committed. And I'm ready to do that again. And you really embody that. And I want a teacher who has done that, and you do that. And it's not always easy.
No, it's not. It's definitely not always hard.
No, it's both. And you talk about both.
Yes.
You talk about both. And for myself, I want to know about the good times and the challenging times. Because when it's easy, it's easy. And when it's hard, that's where, you really have to work it. And so you bring all of those qualities, and I'm inspired by your relationship with Rod. I think it's amazing.
I really love that you say all that.
Yeah.
And, today I've had conversations with multiple clients, and I had a coaching call with my coach because there's something that is really challenging that I'm working through, and I needed to wash my face afterwards so that I wasn't crying when I got on the call with Carrie Lynn. And I've had so much attention out on other people, and that's beautiful. Like, what you say is true.
Yeah.
What you say is true. And I think I want to oh, okay. All right.
It's two things at once. Number one, I mean this very deeply and broadly. I believe you. When you talk about things, like, a lot of people talk about a lot of different things, and there's an authenticity to you that I appreciate. And we always go to a coach who has something that we want, right? So my clients come to me, there's something that they want. And that's what I would go to you for. You have the quality and relationship of something that I want.
I think one of the reasons that it's so beautiful and profound for me to hear you say this is that I used to be such a private person. I mean, I've said this, and I'm not like, this is something to believe me on. This is not exaggerating. But if my husband would say anything about our relationship other than the fact that I'm his wife and where we live, like even what I served for dinner, like I don't have a specific example in mind, but like really anything, I would have my feathers ruffled for a few reasons. One is that I was like, that's for you and me. Like, that's not for anybody else. And also, like, there's two parts of it. One is just being really private, and the quality of commitment and connection we had was such that I didn't think anyone else who wasn't a participant could really understand it. And the other was that I didn't want to be judged by any single piece. And so if I, like, literally, this was early in our marriage, of course, you know, if I made a beautiful meal of filet mignon and mashed potatoes and broccoli, like that's not actually how I cook, but I'm just thinking of like an all-American dinner. And he would tell someone, then I'd be like, oh, they're gonna think that I'm not empowered and I'm just, you know, like I'm a housewife in a bad sense. Or if I, you know, just threw like put some canned soup and toast on, then I'd be like, oh, they're gonna think I'm not a good wife. Like there was so much both my own care for the appearance and my belief that the thick love we had in its many challenges and gratifications just wasn't something that would make sense to other people. But the good news is that I've gotten over myself. For the most part, I have gotten over myself, and I think it is so important to share the truth, because we all know like the Disney stories, and we also know devastating stories, but very often when things look good on the outside, we have no idea what's happening on the inside. And I just was really clear, like we have like part of my, it's not just for my business, it's for my mission. I want people to know what is possible. And so I don't actually need to say more about that because I really want to hear more from you, but I wanted to tell you like where in me what you just shared lands, because it was not easy to like go from a cement wall around our marriage to a fairly porous, I mean there's some things that we keep private, of course, like that's appropriate, but that you have a feeling for the nature of my marriage would have been unbearable before. And now I just feel so grateful that I chose to share so that others can hear. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so glad that you did. And like you always say, there's not a lot of role models for long-term healthy relationships. And so you're bringing that out into the world. It almost feels the way you talk about it like a soul calling.
Yes. And I believe so strongly that having truly fantastic relationships is a learnable skill, and that the real gap is in education. And so I think of my sharing as much as I do about my personal life as a form of education. It's like like my posts on Facebook are like Khan Academy for, you know, relationships. Okay, so this is so juicy. I'm so grateful. And let's go to where here you are and you decide to enroll in Heat Up Your Marriage in 10 Days, which is more of like an appetizer to what I cover in the Aligned and Hot Marriage program. They're related, but it was more of an appetizer portion. But the format is exactly the same. So will you speak to that?
Yeah, I loved the format. It was so fun. You do these Facebook Lives and scheduled, and I don't know what the Hot and Aligned Marriage format is, but I'll just speak to the one that I did. I believe it was 10 days of Facebook Lives. And I thought that it was going to be 10 days in a row. And then it was spread out over 30 days. And I felt like I won the lottery. I was like, oh my God. And it was so great because it gave us time to integrate. And I think I made all of them. Maybe I missed one, but I loved the format of being in the Facebook Live. And one might think that it's removed or detached, but you have such a great skill of one thing that really struck me, and there's so much that I could say, but I loved the format because what you did is you go at such a beautiful pace where everything that's said and talked about, you give attention to. Like nothing is overlooked. At first I was like, what? Is she going to read every comment? Are you kidding? And then I was like, oh, wow, this is beautiful. You just went slow enough so everyone felt seen and heard. And you celebrated everything in a beautiful, resonant way. And the lives were so great. People would post questions and you would talk about it, and then we would comment, and we really created such a beautiful, cohesive, juicy, supportive group of people in that program just through the Facebook Lives, which is quite a feat for you to hold. And it was beautiful.
Yeah, I adore the format, and that was the first time I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, mostly because I've done private coaching, but I want to do some group programs so it's accessible to more people. And there's also, like, I love the Facebook Live Q&A format for people who are more private.
Mm-hmm.
It like some people are happy to share and express it all, but when it comes to relationships, people like to have the option of being discreet, and the Facebook Live Q&A totally makes that possible.
Yes.
And people can share or not share, lurk. That's like understood and welcome.
I loved that. It's really a great point because everyone has different comfort levels based on the story that you shared before. Everyone has different comfort levels. And even inside of a relationship, one partner might want to be on Zoom, say, and another partner might not. But the way you set it up, everyone can be seen and heard as much or as little as they want to. And I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. So you've done so much personal growth, and I love what you shared about the format. Would you say something that you got from the program, like content wise specifically? And I have to tell you in advance, like I'm really devoted to providing lifelong tools or lifelong perspective. Like I'm happy to help people out of a crisis, but I'm really looking for, changing the relationship legacies. And so I want to know what you got out of it, and I'm particularly interested in something that you'll be glad to have the rest of your life.
Yeah.
If there is that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things. There's a couple of things. The thing that comes to mind is a particular pattern came out on the calls one day. The person I was dating at the time was on there, and we were talking to you about something, and I think it was about slowing down. It was about speed. How do you meet each other in speed when you're dealing with an issue?
And for people who don't recognize it in that language. It was about staying connected
Yeah.
during complicated conversations.
Exactly. And some people want to go faster and some people need more time. So that's what we were talking about, and how you stay present inside of that. And what came up in that conversation was my tendency to want to fix things, like be a rescuer. I'm a starting gate rescuer. And then you asked a question on the Facebook Live and to him. And then he said in the comments, Brenda, can you type out the pattern? You can explain it better. And I was like, my ego was like, oh yes, of course I can explain it better. I am a writer and a coach. And so I typed out the thing and we just totally played out the pattern. we totally played out the pattern in that moment. And you were able to lovingly point that out. And it was, nobody did anything wrong. It was just natural, and that really stayed with me, how easy, like how subtly I could want to go in and fix it and save him to make it right, or to get it done quickly, to get the pattern out quickly so you could talk to us about it. But in doing so, I just played out that pattern, and it was a very body-based lesson. And I was almost giggling at myself, and I was embarrassed, like, oh my God, I can't believe that just played out. But it was also great because I got to really see it in real time, which is what's so beautiful about being in your container, because things happen in real time. And we got to see that and laugh at it. And I just wasn't aware that I was doing that.
I really love that. And I remember that moment. And my favorite personal growth saying, or a little pithy thing is, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so invariably, if there's a pattern, it will show up, or else it's not really there. And I love that. And I have to actually acknowledge my husband, who taught me a hard lesson. I think this is so important in the context of committed relationship, or it can be friendship, like where you're not going away. That's the point. But because early in our marriage, Rod and I would have moments where it might have been a disagreement, or it might not have been, but he would have said or done something which really didn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I, of course, would not want to hurt his feelings. I wouldn't want to criticize him in the moment. Like, it's like catching someone with their finger in the cookie jar, like, or their hand. Like, I always would just wait until we were calm, and like I could honestly control the container. And it might be the next day, it might be the next week, and say, I'd like to talk with you about something. Is that okay? Anyway, and I would bring it up so gentle, so careful, so nice, no trouble. And 90% of the time, he had no memory of what he was thinking or what he had done. And we both were really clear. He pointed this out. It's like, I can't do anything about this. It might well happen again because I don't connect with what happened. Tell me in the moment. And I have to say, for me, in the context of my marriage, it took a lot of courage to do that, because especially if he did something and I was activated, I was triggered, I was at much greater risk of being critical or mean because I wasn't all then out.
Exactly.
And yet that was the key. And so actually what I did first was I would say, there's something happening right now that I want to talk with you about later. Like, just asking him to anchor in his awareness of what was happening in that moment.
Beautiful.
And then we got to enough trust where I could do that. So even though that's a totally different situation than my responding to the pattern, I have my husband to thank for understanding how deeply important for the transformation and the awareness, just noting it in the moment, which I wouldn't have known how much was possible on Facebook Live either, because I love
Yeah.
connection and interaction. But the fact is, like any tool, it's in how you use it. And so, and I already see this. I invited someone who's currently in the Aligned in Hot Marriage program to talk today, but she has her kids and it's COVID and it wasn't possible. But um, it's amazing how much is possible in that.
Yeah, it's great. Because you bring so much, and I think relationships are something that we deeply care about, deeply, deeply care about. So I came to your program invested. You know, I don't sign up for a lot of things. I really don't. It like I really, when I sign up for something, it's because I really want it. And so I think that's true for people, and we care about relationships. It's so important. And
Yeah.
so it matters, and you bring that level of reverence to it, and fun. You're so fun.
Okay, I love that. I'm aware I had said how long we would talk, and so I want to respect the time for this conversation. Although I have to say, it's just such a treat to talk with you, and it'd be fun to like uncover more. It's just so beautiful. But I really just want to thank you so much for joining. Is there anything else that you would want to say, or you wish, you know, well, you don't wish someone had said to you before you enrolled in a program with me, but anything that you would say to someone else?
Let's see. I just think you're so great and authentic at what you do, and you're bringing something really valuable to people. What else do I want to say? I want to say that I'm grateful to you and your program. And another really important aspect that I want to say was for the container was witnessing other people. So the story that I shared was great. And also the things that people brought to the table and talked about were so beautiful and intimate. And I got so much from that as well, from the format. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, Brenda, I'm really so grateful for you. This is a gift for anyone who watches it. And if you're watching and you have questions, go ahead and post them below. I'm sure you'd be happy to answer, and I would too.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much.